Chapter 11 Provocation 3 Clears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I bit back my anger. But that guy's teachings were my chance to become a saint. Now that junior sister has already established the human sect, is she teaching me how to be a saint? Cutting off someone's path to sainthood is like killing their parents. The only reason I can stand here talking calmly with Nuwa is that none of us three brothers are saints yet. We're just ants compared to her. Nuwa just looked at me, then smirked. Teacher has already told me about it. I created the human race, so I've been the holy mother to them for quite some time. But the human race suffered for years and couldn't cultivate, so I established the human sect. Before this, I honestly didn't know the human sect was the foundation for your sainthood. But now, it's done, and we can't change the heavenly Tao oath. How about we find another way for you to prove yourself? Hearing that, I almost choked. I was furious before we even left. We were ready to fight Nuwa. Who would have thought she'd act so unexpectedly and say something like that? What could I say? The key is to re-enlighten. Easy for her to say. And she claims she didn't know beforehand. Didn't know my foot. That directly cuts off my path to becoming a saint. And she's got heavenly Tao and the teacher backing her up, so I'm pretty much screwed. Still, I couldn't just let it go. Junior sister Nuwa, as a saint, how could you not realize the human sect was key to my becoming a saint? Seeing this, Yuanshi and Tongtian felt emboldened and started badgering Nuwa. Exactly. How could a saint not consider this? You're a saint. You should have thought this through. Now you've ruined our eldest brother's path to sainthood. Nuwa just innocently shook her head. You're all disciples of the teacher. Even as a saint, I can't just start divining things about you. It was a reasonable and confident answer. Yuanshi and Tongtian were stumped. I was so mad I lost it. But I've lost my chance to become a saint. You owe me an explanation. Nuwa snorted, and her power flared. I already explained. The teacher hasn't criticized me. Why are you making such a mess? She summoned the innate gourd vine, crackling with power. So, are you here for an explanation, or do you want to fight me? Sanqing felt the pressure. They were only quasi-saints, no match for a saint's aura, but they were still extraordinary and had half-body spiritual treasures, so they held their ground, but Nuwa was ready to throw down, and that would ruin everything. She didn't care about appearances. Ever since she found out I wanted to steal the human race's destiny and suppress humanity, she'd had no love for Sanqing. They're all opportunists. Yuanshi was the quickest thinker and blurted out, Junior sister Nuwa, we're not here to fight or anything. We just want to discuss a solution to our eldest brother's sainthood problem with you. Nuwa's face remained cold. A solution? What good ideas could they have? The three breathed a sigh of relief when they heard that. I quickly chimed in. Junior sister Nuwa, if you made me the leader of the human sect, there might still be hope for my sainthood. Lu Feng couldn't help but laugh. I didn't realize I could be so shameless. Trying to steal the human sect leadership after already missing the opportunity to establish the religion. And why would they just hand it over? Maybe my laughter was too loud because Sanqing glared at me. Yuanshi was furious. Just a green lotus that took shape, being arrogant in front of us. Disrespectful. Sanqing knew Lu Feng as Nuwa's first disciple. They'd already sized him up, especially Yuanshi, who was obsessed with lineage, hated Lu Feng for only having Qinglian's lineage. Lu Feng's temper flared. He hadn't interacted much with these power players, but that didn't mean he was a pushover. Uncle Yuanshi, my lineage isn't the best, but I'm grateful the teacher took me as a disciple. Besides, if the teacher wanted to pass on the human sect leadership, it should go to me, the eldest disciple. Or is Master Laozi willing to bring the human sect into the human religion and become a second-generation disciple? I and the others felt their faces burning. Yuanshi had the worst temper and immediately drew his spiritual treasure, aiming it at Lu Feng. Yuanshi's quasi-sage pressure washed over Lu Feng, but Lu Feng showed no fear. He wanted to test his laws against Yuanshi's power. Lu Feng was only a golden immortal, far below Yuanshi, but Lu Feng's technique was special. The Dao Honghuang technique could evolve into 3,000 avenues. Lu Feng only understood a few, but they were beyond a golden immortal's comprehension. A 12th grade lotus flew out of his arms, the white lotus petals shielded him. Behind him, the 12th grade green lotus dharma gradually bloomed. Yuanshi and the others were shocked. 12th grade pure world white lotus. You have it? No, your lineage. Sanqing were in disbelief, especially Yuanshi, who had just mocked Lu Feng's weak lineage. 30,000 years ago, Lu Feng was just an acquired Qinglian. How had he become the 12th level innate demon god Chaos Qinglian? That was too fast. Even Yuanshi wasn't sure he could move that fast, and Lu Feng's strength wasn't the same as when he was a true immortal. He was now in the mid-stage of golden immortal. How could Sanqing not be shocked? Chapter 12, Blocking 3 People from Becoming a Saint. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this ancient world, even Sanqing, with all his power, would need tens of thousands of years to level up, so how could Lu Feng, just some late bloomer, be improving so fast? Yuanshi Tianzun was straight up baffled. Between Lu Feng's background and that breakneck speed of his, it was all too much to process. Instead, his gaze landed squarely on Nuwa. Who else could possibly have pulled off such a complete turnaround for his apprentice in just a few millennia? Nobody but Nuwa. Was the power of a saint really that off the charts? For a moment, it was like a punch to the gut. He was this close to reaching Hongyun de Luo Jingxian. Just one step short of being on the saint's level. The thought alone was enough to make you hurl. Actually, Nuwa was just as bewildered. She'd only heard Lu Feng's progress reports, but seeing it firsthand, she couldn't help but be thrown for a loop. Her disciple hadn't mentioned he was packing top-tier innate spiritual treasure like the 12th grade pure world white lotus. Sanqing and the crew were masters at reading people. Spotting the look on Nuwa's face, they exchanged glances. So Lu Feng's transformation wasn't Nuwa's doing at all, but if it was all Lu Feng's own work, that was just plain freaky, right? Nuwa had no clue what Sanqing was thinking. She just wanted to show off a little. I mean, who wouldn't be strutting around with a disciple like that? Besides, her disciple probably had no idea that she could listen in on his daily reports through the Dao Pan. Being a bit selfish, Nuwa wasn't about to spill the beans. Besides, her apprentice was all that. Putting aside the fact that he had a saint backing him up, his skills and cultivation were already miles ahead of her senior brother's disciples. When it came to leveling up, Sanqing couldn't hold a candle to him. Compared to her apprentice, Sanqing was a total joke. If it wasn't for the serious vibe, Nuwa would probably be doubled over with laughter right now, especially seeing the shock on Sanqing's faces. Pure gold, but Lu Feng wasn't letting up. Uncle Yuanshi, I think your quasi-sage pressure is losing its oomph. Why doesn't it feel heavy at all when it lands on me? Could it be you're going easy on your juniors, Uncle Yuanshi? Lu Feng was being so snarky that Yuanshi almost lost it. He's a pain in my neck. Nuwa, aren't you going to keep your apprentice in line? Nuwa just shrugged, like, what can you do? Senior brother Yuanshi, Lu Feng's got free rein in my Wa Palace. If you're thinking of laying a hand on him, maybe think about the boss of Wa Palace first. If Lu Feng's earlier comments were just needling him, Nuwa was now laying down the gauntlet. Sanqing's faces turned serious. Junior sister Nuwa, think this through. We all heard the sermon together at Zixiao Palace back then. Even if our eldest brother's saintly prospects are off the table, we've still got a shot. Are you really going to cross us? Or can you really handle the wrath of 3 saints? Nuwa scoffed. Senior brother Yuanshi, are you saying I have to bend the knee to you today? Tongtian, watching from the sidelines, frowned. Junior sister Nuwa, we came here to try and find some common ground, but your disciple's been nothing but disrespectful. Does this mean our friendship from our school days doesn't matter to you anymore? Hearing them play the schoolmate card made Nuwa want to puke. Friendship, my foot. If you cared about our bond, why would you be sticking your noses into my human race? I created the human race. I'm their holy mother. Who are you to lecture me? Why are you even here criticizing me? Besides, even the teacher hasn't said anything, so why are you guys jumping down my throat? Hearing Nuwa drop the teacher's name, Sanqing's expressions changed. Truth was, Hongyun couldn't stop Nuwa from starting her own religion. If he could, thunder would have already blown the golden halo of merit behind Nuwa to smithereens, but Nuwa was still standing right in front of them. Come to think of it, even dragging the teacher into it wouldn't help. Lu Feng was quietly piling on. Exactly. We've laid everything out on the table. Why are the junior classmates still dragging this out? Hearing Lu Feng's voice made Yuanshi see red. He wasn't about to let that little punk get away with it. He channeled his energy and lunged at Lu Feng. As the three brothers, I and Tongtian knew what was up. We stepped in behind Yuanshi and blocked Nuwa's counterattack. Today, Yuanshi was determined to teach this disrespectful brat a lesson, and he was holding nothing back. Nuwa couldn't help but look at Lu Feng standing there. Sure, I and Tongtian might both be quasi-sages, but Tongtian had the Zhuxian sword given by Hongyun, and I had a bunch of magic weapons myself. With all the magic gear backing him up, he could actually stand his ground against her holy power. Lu Feng didn't even flinch. He just straight up pushed out the pure world white lotus in his hand. At the same time, the 12th grade chaos green lotus behind him charged at Yuanshi. Yuanshi scoffed. Unbelievable. Yuanshi cranked up the power, and the two forces collided with a deafening bang. But his eyes were fixed on Yuanshi and Lu Feng. Yuanshi, going all out, had a look of triumph in his eyes, but Lu Feng just looked nonchalant, even brushing off his clothes. Uncle Yuanshi still got it, but just remember this, out with the old, in with the new. The old guard's gotta step aside. At your age, Uncle Yuanshi, you should take it easy. Don't want to get sidelined if things go sideways. Hearing Lu Feng's words, Sanqing's faces turned a shade of red, but Nuwa couldn't help but cover her mouth and giggle. Never noticed it before, but wow, her apprentice had a sharp tongue. Sanqing was going to be even more ticked off after that one. But no matter how mad they got, Nuwa wasn't going to let them bully her apprentice right in front of her. Guys, you've had your fun. Said your piece. My place is too small for the three of you. Hearing Nuwa's words, the three of them looked seriously cheesed. Chapter 13 Preaching to the Human Race. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Those three went home empty-handed and got laughed at to boot. Nobody wants that, and get this, Lu Feng, this kid's only a Jinxian, but he stood up to Yuanshi's best shot. Looks like the kid's got more going for him than we thought. Things are getting weird at Hua Palace. The ancestors even thinking about heading back to Zixiao Palace to ask the big guy what's up, but Nuwa's not exactly receiving visitors right now. Brothers, you came to my Hua Palace today to bully my disciples, but out of respect, I'll let it slide. But if you try it again. Nuwa's eyes flashed like Yuanshi's, and the saint's pressure hit them like a ton of bricks. Yuanshi felt like he was pinned under a mountain, gasping for air. Then you won't be coming back. But with that, Nuwa waved her hand. Before Yuanshi and the others could even blink, they were tossed out of the palace. Slam. The doors to Hua Palace slammed shut. After that humiliation, Sanqing weren't about to pick another fight with Nuwa. She's a saint, after all. Even if the three of them jumped her, it probably wouldn't end well. So Yuanshi and the others slunk back to Kunlun Mountain with their tails between their legs. Back in Hua Palace, Nuwa looked intently at Lu Feng, who was sitting nearby. Lu Feng, how did your origin suddenly jump to innate demon god status? Nuwa cared less about Lu Feng's strength and more about his origin. After all, your origin largely determines your talent and how fast you can level up. If his origin improved, he could cultivate at light speed, but how do you just improve someone's origin? If it were that easy, the prehistoric world wouldn't be full of low-level creatures. Lu Feng wanted to tell Nuwa about his system, but it was too complicated to explain, and keeping secrets was crucial in this world. So, he trotted out the story he'd been saving. Teacher, after I left Hua Palace that day, I went back to my cave and found a 12-level chaos green lotus growing right outside. So, I absorbed it and it boosted my origin. Nuwa figured it was just his lucky day. Well, consider it a lucky break. Practice hard from now on. She left out, and try not to screw it up. Lu Feng grinned and looked at his teacher. But why did you want to establish a human education first? Normally, Nuwa should have let him establish a religion among the human race, but she actually stopped him and nabbed his chance to become a saint. What was that about? Nuwa gave him a blank look. It's just what was meant to be. I'm a saint. Stuff like that is easy to figure out. When you reach Hongyun Daluo Golden Immortal level, you'll see how it feels to hold the fate of thousands in your hands. Lu Feng was speechless. He was barely a Golden Immortal now. By the time he reached that level, pigs would fly. Plus, didn't he remember that the ancient saints couldn't predict the future, except for that weirdo Fushi? Lu Feng shivered at the thought of Fushi. He'd almost forgotten about that. As Fushi's sister, Nuwa could always ask her brother for help. No wonder Nuwa was the first to establish a human religion. She was looking into the future, but why this time? Why didn't Nuwa and Fushi react before? As the holy parents of the human race, wouldn't they object to the demons nearly wiping out their people? A million thoughts raced through his mind, but he didn't dare ask his teacher directly. Even though she was normally sweet as pie, Lu Feng would rather not deal with her on a bad day. As if on cue, Nuwa asked sweetly. Why that face? You got a problem with what I said? Lu Feng wouldn't dream of questioning Nuwa. He shook his head so fast he almost gave himself whiplash. Of course not. You're always right, that he shouldn't have asked. Nuwa nodded, satisfied. Then she remembered something. Ever since he'd become a Golden Immortal, her disciple had been getting a bit cocky. Time to crack the whip a little. She couldn't have him getting lazy. After a moment, Nuwa decided to put Lu Feng in charge of her human affairs. Lu Feng, I'm planning to go into seclusion soon. This human race has just started out, so you'll be handling things. You're a Golden Immortal now, so you can go to the human race and preach and teach them how to cultivate. Lu Feng never expected this, but he did have a bunch of cultivation methods saved in his system, and he could use them to train the humans. Understood. Alright, you can go now. Nuwa waved her hand, and Lu Feng found himself back at the gates of Hua Palace. Without hesitation, Lu Feng activated the teleportation formation in his hand and zipped back to his cave. He was still weak, and before he got to Daluo Jingxian level, he wasn't tough enough to handle the energy of chaos. Good thing Nuwa had custom-made the teleportation formation for him. Back in his cave, Lu Feng packed up and got ready to head to Shouyang Mountain. His cave was only 6,000 miles from Shouyang Mountain. At his speed, it would only take a few minutes to get there. At the foot of Shouyang Mountain, the human race had formed tribes, large and small, under the leadership of the Swearin clan. Lu Feng felt a surge of pride when he saw the human race thriving. He was human in his previous life, so he had a natural connection with them. But when he thought about the losses the human race would suffer during the Lich Tribulation, he couldn't help but sigh. Still, the Lich Tribulation was hundreds of thousands of years away, so there was no rush. Lu Feng turned into a streak of light and flew up Shouyang Mountain. He was only halfway there when several figures landed in front of him, blocking his path. Lu Feng's eyes narrowed at the sight of the roadblock. Who's there? Lu Feng greeted the three people. I'm Lu Feng, a disciple of Saint Nuwa, and I've been ordered to preach and teach. The three blockers looked excited, and their eyes lit up when they saw Lu Feng. You're a disciple of the Holy Mother. We're honored to meet you, Lu Feng. Lu Feng waved it off. His name had spread far and wide, but most people had never seen his face. The up-and-coming human race, of course, knew about Lu Feng. Seeing him in the flesh caused quite a stir. Chapter 14 Chaos Treasure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The three people who stopped Lu Feng introduced themselves. I'm from the Swearin clan. Nice to meet you, Daoist Lu Feng. I'm from the Yuchao clan. Pleasure to meet you, Daoist Lu Feng. Mingy, at your service, Daoist Lu Feng. Lu Feng nodded. I'm here to preach, and I'd appreciate your help. The three Swearin clan members beamed and nodded. Just name it, Daoist Lu Feng. If we can do it, we're on it. Lu Feng looked at their earnest faces and thought how simple people were back then. Led by Yu Chao and the others, Lu Feng quickly entered the heart of the human settlement. Yu Chao even found him a perfect open space. Daoist Lu Feng, this is the sacred spot where Empress Nuwa waited for her ship to arrive. We're truly blessed to have you preach here now. Lu Feng smiled and waved it off. Then please gather your people to listen. Following Lu Feng's request, they gathered the clansmen. Before long, 3,000 people had assembled. Nuwa herself had created over 1,000 of them. The rest were born in the last few years. The human population was still small, and those capable of cultivation were even fewer. For example, the three great ancestors of the Yuchao clan were only in the mid-Xuanxian stage. Lu Feng didn't mind. Seeing that everyone was ready, he began to preach slowly. Today, we'll discuss the way of life. It's supported by the grand laws of the Great Tao. Lu Feng's understanding of the laws wasn't vast, but it was comprehensive, more than enough to teach the human race. As he preached, the power of law surged within him. Golden clouds rolled in from the sky, creating a radiant spectacle. Green lotuses bloomed beneath each person, lifting them and immersing them in the timeless sermon. Lu Feng preached for 600 years. During that time, he imparted a wide range of Taoist practices. Besides the ones Nuwa had originally developed for the human race, Lu Feng also introduced the way of fire, water, swords, time, and more. As the toughest race in the ancient world, the humans quickly absorbed the various Taoist methods Lu Feng had opened up for them. The more they learned, the more amazed they became. Even though Lu Feng was only a golden elixir cultivator, he had passed down 18 different Taoist methods over those years. These methods were profound, some even reaching the level of supreme cultivation techniques. The humans couldn't sit still, they began to delve into the Taoist practice of their choice. Maybe it was the kinship between the struggling. Nuwa's Taoist teachings were too advanced for the human race, and the requirements were too stringent. Lu Feng's teachings were easier to understand and had a much lower barrier to entry. Suddenly, over half the humans entered a state of enlightenment. The human race finally possessed the ability to protect itself in this vast wilderness. Shuirenshi and the others looked at Lu Feng with profound gratitude. Without Lu Feng, the human race would still be helpless against natural disasters and unable to defend itself. Although they were already in the mid-Xuanxian stage, they were just drops in the bucket in this immense world. At that moment, Nuwa, in retreat at Wa Palace, stirred. That kid! How can the human race's luck be so strong? That the overwhelming surge of human luck was so intense that Nuwa was roused from her meditation. As the leader of the human religion, Nuwa was most blessed by luck, followed by Lu Feng. As Lu Feng finished, he slowly rose. Today's preaching concludes. Many humans immediately prostrated themselves with reverence. Thank you, Immortal, for your teachings. We'll cherish them forever. Lu Feng smiled gently. You have 100 years to absorb and practice. After that, during the Lich calamity, they can survive and protect themselves. Otherwise, things would be much worse. Lu Feng hadn't planned on leaving the human race too soon this time. He had even thought about opening a new cave on Shouyang Mountain. Compared to his water curtain cave, Shouyang Mountain scenery was simply divine. With its beautiful mountains, clear waters, singing birds, and fragrant flowers, Lu Feng felt at peace just breathing. When the Shuiren clan heard that Lu Feng was going to build a new cave, they immediately sent strongmen to help him, but Lu Feng declined. With his current strength, opening a cave was easy, and here on Shouyang Mountain, he didn't want anyone to know the little tricks he would use in his cave. After sending away the Shuiren clan and the others, Lu Feng immediately chose a blessed spot and struck it with a single palm. His palm strike immediately created a hole in the mountain. Lu Feng picked up his god-slaying sword and walked in. In no time, he had built and decorated his cave. He set up an innate formation at the entrance, and the interior was filled with comfortable decorations. After all that, Lu Feng didn't forget to carve his name on the outside of his cave. House of Humanity. With the name complete, Lu Feng lay comfortably on his cave bed. He also opened the system he hadn't checked in a while. Sure enough, as soon as the system was turned on, it started beeping like crazy. Back when he was just some Joe Schmo, Lu Feng would have been annoyed, but now, knowing that those ding-ding-dong-dong sounds meant a steady stream of spiritual treasures coming his way, he felt wonderful. Ha 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 ha. Let's see what I got for signing in. With sign-in hosting enabled, Lu Feng didn't have to worry about missing any rewards. The system would collect them all. All he needed to do was a follow-up report. as soon as Lu Feng took out the Great Tao Disc, the system prompts flooded in. Congratulations to the host for successfully re-signing and obtaining the innate spiritual treasure Gourd Vine. Congratulations to the host for successfully re-signing and obtaining the acquired treasure, the demon-breaking knife. Congratulations to the host for successfully re-signing and receiving the innate elixir, the god-replenishing pill. Congratulations to the host for successfully re-signing and obtaining innate skills. Congratulations to the host for successfully re-signing and obtaining the Chaos Arcana Chaos Bead. Chapter 15 The Rare Treasure of Heaven. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A flood of rewards hit Lu Feng, nearly blinding him with their brilliance. Then he spotted it, a chaos treasure nestled among the other prizes. Chaos beads. Now that was something special. Legend had it that each chaos bead contained an entire world, able to hide secrets from the heavens and act as a devastating weapon. If he'd had one of these things last time he faced Yuan Shi, he could have vaporized those 3 flowers on Yuan Shi's head. That's how powerful they were supposed to be. Even setting aside its offensive capabilities, the world inside a chaos pearl was as vast as the prehistoric world itself. If Lu Feng wanted to, and if he were strong enough, he could create an entirely new reality within the chaos pearl at any time. The only downside was his current weakness. Refining this chaos bead would probably take a lot of work, but Lu Feng wasn't worried. In this primitive world, time was one thing there was plenty of. Thinking it over, Lu Feng immediately brought out his Tao plate. Sign in. Today's a great day. I landed a chaos bead. Congratulations, host. You've successfully signed in and received the heaven-suppressing coffin, a rare treasure of the heavens. Congratulations, host. You've signed in for 1,000 years and obtained the willow vine, a chaos treasure. Lu Feng was genuinely surprised at the 1-2 punch of rewards. Wow, he thought, those are pretty generous, right? Forget the heaven-suppressing coffin for a moment, just look at the willow vine. That alone was a huge boon for his plant-based family. If Lu Feng could fully absorb it, it would probably be enough to promote him to Tai Golden Immortal. Remember, when Taoist Yang Mei fought Hongyun, even Hongyun, who had the full backing of heaven, couldn't easily defeat him. This chaos treasure probably came straight from Yang Mei Taoist himself. Lu Feng wanted to absorb it, but the second his spiritual power touched it, it bounced right back. Feeling the immense power radiating from the willow vine, Lu Feng knew this wasn't going to be easy, not with his current strength. Still, Lu Feng wasn't in a rush. He slowly turned his attention to the heaven-suppressing coffin. As a rare treasure of the heavens, the heaven-suppressing coffin had its own special abilities. It could suppress anything in the ancient world, even the laws of heaven themselves. If he used it against a saint, he could trap them inside. If the saint couldn't break free within 81 days, they'd be permanently sealed inside. And unless Lu Feng wanted them to escape, nobody could get them out. Lu Feng was beside himself with excitement. This was amazing. He'd been worried about running into saints like Yuan Shi again. Now that he had the heaven-suppressing coffin, he wasn't afraid of anything. Next time, he'd go straight for the jugular. Having scored so many incredible prizes, Lu Feng decided to refine at least some of the willow vine's power. Speaking of Yang Mei Taoist, he was a legend in ancient times. He controlled the laws of space. This willow vine came from him, so refining it would give Lu Feng access to those same laws. With that thought in mind, Lu Feng closed his eyes and started refining. Almost immediately, the power of space filled the cave. Lu Feng was surrounded by swirling currents of spatial energy. He was completely oblivious, lost in the process of absorbing and refining the willow vine. He didn't know how long he'd been at it, but Lu Feng felt like he was on the verge of a breakthrough, so he channeled his original energy into spiritual power and sent it surging through his body, aiming for the late golden immortal stage. With a final surge, Lu Feng felt a click, and he successfully broke through, reaching the late stage of golden immortal. But there was still plenty of energy left in his body, and Lu Feng felt his realm shifting again. The vast energy continued to flow through his meridians, finally reaching his spiritual platform and pushing him towards the next level. In a short time, Lu Feng went from the late golden immortal stage to the very peak. Now, Lu Feng had a huge grin on his face. Yes, reaching the peak of Golden Immortal, Lu Feng felt the power of spatial law in his body solidify, and his Tao fruit became much more stable. He finally had a grasp of the laws of space. He couldn't fully control them yet, but he could now use magical abilities like shrinking distances. Thrilled with his progress, Lu Feng immediately grabbed his Tao plate. Let me sign in again. This retreat had lasted for 2 months. The system had given him plenty of rewards, but Lu Feng only glanced at them. Today, I successfully reached the peak of Golden Immortal. I'm only 1 step away from the Tai Golden Immortal. I hope my luck holds out and I get an innate spiritual root. As he finished speaking, the system's chimes sounded. Congratulations, host. You've successfully signed in and received the Immortal Apricot Branch, an innate spiritual root. Lu Feng was speechless. Was he really getting everything he asked for? What's more, these branches were one of the 10 innate spiritual roots. Even compared to the willow vine, it wasn't much worse concessions, but in the end, this thing actually fell into his hands. Too much, too fast. Lu Feng wanted to refine the Immortal Apricot Branch, but he was running out of energy. After all, his strength was growing too quickly. If he didn't stabilize it, it could hurt his practice, so, Lu Feng decided to put it away for now and save it for later. He also took the time to check his previous sign-in rewards. Congratulations, host. You've successfully re-signed and gotten a 7-color tail feather. Congratulations, host. You've successfully re-signed and received a 5-color divine stone. Congratulations, host. You've successfully re-signed and received a bottle of Honghuang divine water. Congratulations, host. You've successfully re-signed and received 10 third-grade green lotus plants. A long list of rewards appeared, making Lu Feng dizzy. His attention was quickly drawn to the 3 light divine water. A palm-sized bottle appeared in front of him. It seemed small when he shook it, but after a closer look, Lu Feng realized the 3 light divine water inside was as big as a pond. Thinking about how the system would occasionally reward him with lotus flowers, he imagined digging a pond in front of his house. When the time came, he could pour the Honghuang divine water into the pond and then fill it with lotus flowers. That would be a sight to behold. Chapter 16 Hongyun is going to fall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Speaking of this 3 lights divine water, it's the real deal. It's been famous since way back when, and it's not just some fancy holy water. This stuff can flush out any poison and patch up any wound. Seriously, a single drop can bring a saint back to fighting shape. And get this, even Yuancher only has a few drops left tucked away. Then there's Lu Feng, sitting on a whole bottle. Yeah, it looks small, but that jade bottle is like a TARDIS, bigger on the inside. We're talking lake-sized, so, Lu Feng set with this water. Plus, it's not like he can't snag more rewards down the road. He sticks the 3 lights divine water back in his inventory and gets back to training. He leveled up too fast earlier and needs to stabilize things before messing with those immortal apricot branches. It took him over a century to settle down. He popped down the mountain a few times to show the humans how to practice, but mostly he chilled in his cave. Meanwhile, back at Wa Palace, Nuwa just coughed up another mouthful of blood, looking spooked. She's tried to use her Saint Mojo to peek at the future 3 times now, but every time, the ending is totally different. Something's up. Nuwa's racking her brain, trying to figure out where things went sideways. She's had countless visions, all with different outcomes, whatever's causing. This is seriously messing with things. Even a saint like her can't see what's coming, so how does Lu Feng know what's going to happen? Nuwa's totally confused, but she can't crack the code. Finally, she throws her hands up. Whatever. Let it play out. With that, Nuwa pulls out her comms device again. Soon, her apprentice's voice is blasting through the speakers. Just got back from preaching, and life's good. The sun's out, and I just found a spiritual root. I just hit Golden Immortal max level. Today's a good day. Perfect for digging a pond. And filling it with 3 lights divine water. Seriously, you should see it. Turns out, that stuff is awesome for growing lotuses. Nuwa's face is priceless. This is ridiculous, but wait, did he just say he hit peak golden immortality? That was quick. Nuwa's thinking hard, but she keeps listening. Wish the teacher would come out of hiding already. I miss her. I was checking her out today, and wow, she's gorgeous. I definitely lucked out with her as my teacher. Nuwa's blushing a bit, but she's also thinking. This kid's got some nerve thinking about that stuff. Still, she keeps listening patiently. Day 1305 of missing my teacher. When am I gonna see her again? I don't know if I can take it anymore. Am I gonna snap and become a disciple gone rogue? Nuwa's scratching her head. What's a pusher? Her gut tells her it's not good, but she can't figure it out, so she brushes it off. She listens for most of the day and figures out Lu Feng's mostly giving daily updates. He throws in some feelings now and then, but he's not talking about the future much. Time to chill by the ocean, spring flowers are in full bloom. Gonna buckle down and level up. Can't let the teacher down. And then radio silence from Lu Feng. Nuwa nods, satisfied. This kid's got potential. Just needs a push. Look how far he's come. Mid-stage to peak golden immortal in no time. But where did he get another apricot branch? Those things are rare, but basically, none of my students break through without them. But if that benefits him, as a teacher, I won't hold him back. He is my student after all, and needs to have the resources necessary to get stronger. Right as Nuwa figures Lu Feng's gone into Zen mode, another voice breaks in. Turns out, humans are pretty cool. I've only been here for 800 years, and they've already got 100,000 people. Speaking of time, shouldn't Hongyun be getting jumped by Kunpeng and the others right about now? No idea why that guy's got such a soft spot for everyone, but look where it got him. Where's his purple energy gonna end up? If I were him, I'd be in there fighting for it. Grab that energy while everyone's busy beating each other up. Too bad I'm not even Tai Golden Immortal yet. Oh well, I'll get there. Just gotta keep an eye on the humans. Those two bald monks out west are trouble. They're always scheming to get their hands on them. Hey, when's the teacher coming out of hiding? If she'd come out and take charge of the humans, I could finally focus on my training. Nuwa's jaw hits the floor. Back then, tons of big shots went to Zixiao Palace to hear the big cheese speak, but Lu Feng wasn't there. He was just a baby lotus back then, so, where did he hear these stories from? Lu Feng doesn't just know what's coming. He knows all the details about what happened in the past, and he's got those monks in the west pegged. There were only 6 guys sitting on those cushions back then. Besides me, the first to become sanctified was Sanqing. As for those 2 from the west, they are inferior to them in terms of strength and resources, so they should be the last to become saints. But how did Lu Feng know that the 2 people in the west would attack the human race in the future? For a moment, Nuwa felt that there seemed to be various mysteries hidden in her disciple, which even made her feel a little trance. Her eyes were then locked on the great road disk in front of her. Lu Feng talks about it every day, but it seems that he is not controlled by heaven. Even if Nuwa herself wants to tell some secrets, she has to consider the subsequent cause and effect. However, this regulation does not seem to apply to Lu Feng. It seems that there is something really different about my apprentice. Despite this, Nuwa never thought of doubting her apprentice. After all, he was a disciple who grew up in front of her. If she didn't protect him, others might bully him to death. With that thought, Nuwa remembers what Lu Feng said about Hongyun getting jumped by all those tough guys. Which would mean that purple energy is up for grabs. Chapter 17. The human race is attacked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Lu Feng wasn't strong enough yet to wield Honghuang purple chi, there was only so much of it to go around. Surely snagging an extra piece or 2 for his disciples wouldn't be a problem, right? With that thought, Nuwa started plotting. Her own disciples were too weak to join the fray, but as a saint, she could easily stir things up. Lu Feng, oblivious, was about to check his system rewards after his daily routine. Congratulations, host. You've received a bottle of top-tier source spiritual liquid. Lu Feng perked up, eyeing the white jade bottle in his hand. Unlike the last reward of 3-colored divine light, this bottle was plain. It contained a crystal-clear liquid, presumably the potent source spiritual liquid. Without hesitation, Lu Feng decided to refine it all. Anything related to the body's origin was bound to boost his practice. He'd been planning to absorb the refining immortal apricot branch, but that could wait. Majestic spiritual power surged through Lu Feng's meridians, shaking the surrounding aura. The chaos green lotus behind him seemed to solidify. As the liquid dwindled, the 12-petaled chaos green lotus underwent a change. 3 more petals sprouted. Lu Feng blinked, thinking he was seeing things, but a careful count confirmed it. His chaos green lotus now boasted 15 petals. Simultaneously, the spiritual power in his body surged against the barriers of his newly stabilized realm. In a flash, the power crashed through the peak of the golden immortal realm, like a dam bursting. Tai initial stage. A light flashed in Lu Feng's eyes, and he sat up with a start. Surprised, he quickly resumed his cross-legged position, cycling his spiritual power. Before long, 2 golden lotuses bloomed above his head, glowing beautifully. Only when the golden lotuses solidified did Lu Feng finally exhale. Nailed it. Golden light exploded from Lu Feng's body. He felt a warmth spread through him, like sinking into a hot bath. I didn't expect this source liquid to be so powerful. It not only pushed me to the Tai initial stage but also allowed me to condense top-tier golden flowers. Even the great Dao Honghuang technique leveled up to the 4th stage. Feels good, doesn't it? Lu Feng was nearly bursting with joy, but before he could fully savor his breakthrough, his expression darkened. Damn! I'm in charge of the human race, and there's already an invasion. At the foot of Shuyang Mountain, 2 bull demons crept into the woods. They began devouring the humans of a small tribe alive. Lu Feng's spiritual power now covered the entire area. Normally, he wouldn't snoop, but he'd set up a formation around the human settlements. Any intrusion would trigger an instant alert. These bull demons were slaughtering the tribe. Lu Feng couldn't stand for it. In a heartbeat, he burst from his cave. His improved strength amplified his control over space, and his flying speed was also greatly increased. He descended upon the small human tribe. The tribe was in chaos, filled with screams and cries. Let me go. Father. Brother, help me. Lu Feng walked through the carnage, his eyes cold. The bull demons, oblivious, reveled in the terror they caused. Seeing the cowering humans only fueled their bloodlust. Ha ha ha, look at all these humans. We'll feast today. I've been wanting a taste of these humans for so long. And they just handed themselves over today. If only we could eat like this every day. It's a shame Nuwa created these humans. Even demons like us can only sneak in for a snack. The demons continued their casual conversation, occasionally swatting a human to death. Blood flowed, and the humans trembled. What do we do? They're going to kill us all. Suddenly, a figure dropped from the sky, striking the lead bull demon. A single blow, infused with the power of law, shattered the demon into pieces. The remaining demon froze, fear creeping into his eyes. Tai Golden Immortal. How can the human race have a Tai Golden Immortal? Lu Feng smiled coldly. Didn't you hear? The human race are followers of our human religion. Anyone who dares to massacre them will pay the price. As the last word echoed, the surviving bull demon was torn apart by spatial power, leaving only a stain on the ground. The 2 demons died instantly at Lu Feng's hands. The humans were stunned. Lu Feng's attack was swift and decisive. Before they could even react, the demons were gone, reduced to nothing. Lu Feng was about to leave when a powerful aura slammed into him from behind. Instinctively, he dodged, but the attacker was faster. Lu Feng summoned his 12th grade world-destroying Black Lotus. The lotus appeared, shielding him from the attack. Lu Feng finally saw his attacker. He glared. I don't know who you are, but what's the meaning of attacking the human race? An intense pressure washed over Lu Feng. Just a Qinglian who recently reached the Tai Golden Immortal realm, and you dare to kill demons? Lu Feng snorted. Though he knew his opponent was far stronger, he remained composed. This is the holy land of the human religion. If the demons dare to devour the human race, they must be prepared to pay the price. I guard the human race on behalf of Empress Nuwa. Chapter 18 Lu Feng's Attitude. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing Lu Feng's words, the guy's face changed fast. He hesitated a beat, then asked, "You wouldn't happen to be Lu Feng, student of Saint Nuwa, would you?" Lu Feng gave a polite bow. "That's me. What can I do for you?" Hearing that, the visitor broke into a wide smile. "Small world, isn't it? Who knew I'd find a disciple of Saint Nuwa right here?" Lu Feng didn't respond, just gave him a steady look. He could tell this guy was way stronger, probably a quasi-sage, but Lu Feng wasn't about to back down just because of that. Besides, he had Saint Nuwa backing him up. Even a quasi-sage would have to think twice before messing with him. Truth was, this quasi-sage demon was already sweating bullets. He was mentally kicking those two dumb beasts all over the place. What made them think they could waltz into human territory? Everyone knew Saint Nuwa watched over the humans. She'd even set up a whole religion just for them, and these two boneheads decide now was a good time to start chowing down on people. He couldn't even use his superior strength to bully the kid in front of him. After a whole lot of internal wrestling, the demon finally bowed respectfully to Lu Feng. "My bad, friend. No offense intended. I just heard some monsters got taken out in this area and came to check it out. Since they got what was coming to them, let's just call it a day." Lu Feng was digging the other guy's attitude. Time to push the advantage. "Alright, but I overheard those bull demons earlier. Something about the demon clan having a hankering for human flesh." The demon practically froze on the spot. He didn't know what kind of garbage the dead bulls had been spewing. And right in front of Nuwa's disciple, no less. Now he was getting grilled for it. Looked like he wasn't going anywhere until he bled a little. "How would you like to see this handled, friend Lu?" he asked. Those bulls were dead, anyway. He couldn't exactly dig them up and punish them some more, could he? And Lu Feng hadn't exactly left much of them intact. Lu Feng smirked. "Here's the deal. From now on, no demon sets foot in human territory to hunt humans. Anyone caught doing it gets what they deserve, no questions asked." As he said the last words, a low rumble echoed across the sky. The demon glanced up, knowing Lu Feng's words had just struck a chord with the heavenly Tao. He hated it, but he didn't have a choice. He reluctantly agreed. "Of course, that's the way it'll be. I'll make sure the demons below know to leave the humans alone." With that out of the way, the demon saint was itching to get out of there. He was never doing this kind of grunt work again. Lu Feng hadn't actually expected the demon to follow through. After all, the upcoming Lich War would mess up everyone's lives, not just the demon and witch clans, but the humans too. If he could help avoid even a tiny bit of that, it might be an opportunity for the humans down the road. Plus, his oath to the heavenly Tao meant that any demons planning to mess with humans would have to think about the consequences. "Then please tell your buddies what I said." Right then, the demon saint just felt like Lu Feng was a pain in the neck. If it had been anyone else, he would have blown a fuse, but Lu Feng's background made him untouchable. Nuwa and Fu Shi were demon emperors in their demon court, so tangling with Lu Feng would make things pretty awkward down the line. "Don't sweat it, friend Lu. I'll tell their majesties everything when I get back." Lu Feng finally nodded, and just like that, the demon saint vanished. Lu Feng turned into a streak of light and headed back to his cave. He rarely got up and about, so he might as well take advantage of it and do his daily sign-in. He hauled out the great Tao disc, laid a hand on it, and started murmuring. "I was busy training, but then some demons showed up and started gobbling up humans left and right. I took those two out, and then a demon saint showed up out of nowhere. Figured it was a good time to keep the demons out of human territory, give the humans a little more protection." No sooner had he finished talking than the system notification popped up. "Congratulations. You've completed your daily sign-in. You've been awarded a bottle of top-grade Tianshan snow water." Lu Feng glanced at the prize and tossed it into his system inventory. He'd known about the properties of Tianshan snow water for ages, so he didn't need the system to spell it out for him. Basically, it just helped solidify your realm, but it was kind of useless for Lu Feng. As an innate demon god, solidifying his foundation and boosting his cultivation was a walk in the park. He got so much Tianshan snow water from the system that he'd almost forgotten about this bottle. One day, he'd dig a pond outside his cave and fill it with the stuff. Just thinking about owning a pool of Honghuang divine water and a pool of Tianshan snow water made him grin. At the same time, his rewards for signing in repeatedly started showing up, and his system inventory filled up with new slots. Lu Feng closed his eyes again. He hadn't had time to refine the immortal apricot branch he'd won last time, but now was the perfect opportunity. He'd just retreat and absorb the innate spiritual root. Chapter 19 Meeting Tongtian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Feng channeled spiritual power into the fairy apricot branches, gradually increasing the flow, and began drawing large amounts of energy from them. He quickly adapted to the accelerated refinement, so he cranked up the intake again. Lu Feng finally started to feel a slight ache in his meridians, but it was barely noticeable. The immortal apricot branch was saturated with thunder and lightning energy. Lu Feng felt a numbing sensation spreading through his body as he absorbed it, masking the pain. When Lu Feng emerged from seclusion, he was invigorated, and his cultivation had advanced considerably. Seizing the moment, Lu Feng immediately initiated his daily sign-in. Good day to be me. My strengths jumped to the late Tai Golden Immortal stage, and my physical forms bulked up, too. He paused. Wonder what the teacher's up to these days. Congratulations. You've signed in and received the acquired magic weapon, Bronze Mirror. An old mirror materialized in his hands. Lu Feng promptly tucked it away in the system space, then remembered the lotus blossoms in his pond. Those flowers were a higher priority than some dusty mirror. Besides, those lotus were a rare and ancient find. If anyone dared to swipe one or two, Lu Feng would probably rip them a new one for days. Stepping out of the cave, Lu Feng felt a wave of satisfaction as he gazed upon the lotus flowers swaying in the breeze. Those lotus are adaptable little guys. They've really come into their own in a short time. Suddenly, a streak of light flashed across Honghuang Mountain. Moments later, it reversed course and hovered above the mountain's peak. Tongtian sensed the potent fortune emanating from Honghuang Mountain, and his expression shifted. What's this? The luck here is incredibly strong. Could something be amiss with the humans living here? After all, humanity was arguably the most insignificant race in existence. Even with the backing of a saint like Nuwa, how could their fortune explode like this after just a few short years? Without hesitation, Tongtian descended to Honghuang Mountain and began walking towards the heart of the human settlement. The deeper he went, the more astonished he became. Humans were thriving and multiplying everywhere he looked, and the sheer variety of cultivation paths they were pursuing was astounding. Each human seemed to be carving out their own unique journey. This was beyond Tongtian's comprehension. To his knowledge, Nuwa had only preached on Honghuang Mountain once, on the day she established the human religion. How could this level of development be explained? Before Tongtian could make sense of it, a figure came into view. A young man in black robes reclined lazily on a wooden chair in the distance. Sunlight bathed his figure, causing him to squint slightly. Lu Feng. What's that kid doing here? Tongtian was stunned. A nagging feeling told him that Lu Feng was somehow responsible for the current state of the human race, but Lu Feng was just a golden immortal. Tongtian stopped short, his eyes widening again. Wait. Lu Feng had advanced to the Tai Golden Immortal stage, and he was nearly at the peak. If Lu Feng kept at it, he could reach the Daoyuo Jingxian level in under 100,000 years. But last time he'd seen this kid, wasn't he just a golden immortal? How was he progressing so fast? Even the Sanqing brothers, the reincarnated forms of innate demon gods, couldn't keep up with Lu Feng's pace. In the entire prehistoric world, Sanqing were as good as it gets, and now, they were being outstripped by Lu Feng. Tongtian was gobsmacked. Just then, Lu Feng opened his eyes and looked in Tongtian's direction. Uncle Tongtian visiting the human race today, that's quite the stroke of luck. Lu Feng didn't harbor the same animosity toward Tongtian as he did toward Laozi and Yuanshi. After all, Tongtian was a bit of an unlucky guy, set up by his older brothers. Plus, Tongtian had a more easygoing personality. He wasn't uptight like Yuanshi. Tongtian had accompanied his brothers to the Hua Palace that day, but Yuanshi Tianzuan did most of the talking. While he'd been involved, he didn't hold Lu Feng's dereliction of duty against him. He even thought Lu Feng's temperament suited him well. If Nuwa hadn't claimed him first, Tongtian might have taken him on as a disciple, so, Tongtian's attitude toward Lu Feng was remarkably amiable. It's been a while, nephew Lu Feng. You've grown considerably stronger. Lu Feng chuckled. Nah, just catching up on my training between engagements. Tongtian paused. Just catching up. How little effort was this guy expending? And he'd made this much progress on scraps of free time. Regarding Lu Feng's words, Tongtian remained skeptical. You've got talent, nephew. You'll go far with a little effort. Even so, the Tai Golden Immortal level is just a start. You have to buckle down in the future. Lu Feng nodded, taking in the words that sounded just like his master. I hear and obey, uncle. But I think you're out for a tour, right? Tongtian blinked, then nodded. He was something of a training fanatic, and now that he'd seen Nuwa attain sainthood, Tongtian was anxious to get up to speed. Of course, Tongtian wouldn't admit that to Lu Feng. Yeah, just taking in the sights. Lu Feng's smile widened. Tours are great, master. You never know what opportunities will come your way. I have a feeling opportunities waiting for you, uncle. Chapter 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Lu Feng spoke, Tongtian sensed something was off, but he couldn't quite place it. How can opportunity just fall into someone's lap like that? Still, I appreciate the thought, nephew. Lu Feng knew Tongtian had dismissed what he said, and an idea sparked in his mind. I've already ticked off Laozi and Yuanche. In the future, Tongtian's going to split from them, leading to a huge showdown. They're on completely different paths. If Tongtian sticks to the Jijiao way, things won't end well. If I can steer him right, helping him become a saint, he'll definitely be on my side down the road. Uncle Tongtian, your opportunity is a shot at sainthood. You've got to make the most of it. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in a rut. My teacher beat me to the punch, costing me my shot at sainthood. But Yuanche and Tongtian's opportunities are still on the table, waiting for them to grab them. Tongtian nodded, then looked at Lu Feng, puzzled. After all, he's already reached the peak of the quasi-sage level, so why would he need a Tai Golden Immortal to guide him? Besides, his chance at becoming a saint isn't some easy equation to solve. His big brother spent a ton of time and energy trying to figure out his chance at sainthood. For Lu Feng to just casually mention it like that, could he really know what's holding him back? Suddenly, Tongtian thought of his junior sister Nuwa again. Nuwa was one of the 6 who listened to the sermon in Zixiao Palace, and she was also the first to achieve sainthood recently. There's a natural divide between a saint and a quasi-sage. Could Nuwa actually be able to figure out the key to his sainthood? The thought excited Tongtian, and his attitude toward Lu Feng warmed up considerably. Wasn't the whole point of this trip to help him break through to sainthood? He had finally found someone who could lend him a hand, and Tongtian wasn't about to let go. He immediately grabbed Lu Feng's hand. Nephew. Before he could finish, it dawned on him that his big brother had been intercepted by Nuwa to grab the foundation of sainthood. If Nuwa really figured out when he'd become a saint and deliberately swooped in to steal his resources, even Tongtian was freaked out, breaking into a cold sweat. Seeing Tongtian's reaction, Lu Feng figured the other party didn't fully trust him, so he turned to leave. If you don't believe me, uncle, I'll be going. I was going to tell you about your chance at sainthood. But, hey, whatever happens, happens. Tongtian immediately got anxious. Wait a minute, nephew. It's not that I don't want to hear your advice, it's just, this all seems a bit far-fetched. Lu Feng was just a Tai Golden Immortal, it was too unbelievable to think he could figure out the key to sainthood from a Tai Golden Immortal, right? Lu Feng cleared his throat. How about this? I'll tell you what your chance at becoming a saint is. We can even make a bet. If I lose, the position of leader of the human sect automatically goes to your big brother, Laozi. Lu Feng didn't mention what would happen if he won the bet. Truthfully, Tongtian would feel bad taking all the spoils from Lu Feng. After all, he was the elder here. He couldn't take advantage of the younger generation, could he? Alright, if I lose the bet, how about I give you the 24 Dinghai divine pearls I have? Lu Feng's eyes lit up when he heard that Tongtian would hand over the 24 Dinghai divine pearls, those were amazing, Xiao Gongming used those 24 Dinghai divine pearls to hold his own against Chan Jiao during the battle on the conferred god list. It was a shame that one of those 24 Dinghai divine pearls got knocked down, leading to Xiao Gongming immediately entering the list of gods, but now, that treasure was about to be in his hands. Lu Feng was pumped. Uncle Tongtian, your chance at sainthood can be summed up in 10 words. Tongtian raised his eyebrows, but didn't say anything. Listening intently, Lu Feng cleared his throat. Seize the glimmer of life, teach without discrimination. Tongtian was stunned, frozen in place. Seize a glimmer of hope, teach without discrimination. Tongtian felt his blood boiling, and the Honghuang purple qi in his body began to move like crazy. He was so close to sainthood, and Lu Feng's words helped him understand exactly what he needed to do. Establish a religion, and the Jiejiao was founded just to seize a glimmer of hope, Tongtian didn't pay attention to Lu Feng. He immediately sat down cross-legged, falling into an ideal state. Lu Feng didn't disturb him. Instead, he cast a band covering hundreds of miles. Becoming a saint isn't easy. It can take millions of years. Someone like Tongtian might be quicker, but during this period, you can't afford to make a single mistake. Lu Feng didn't know how long he'd been waiting. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind hit him, pushing Lu Feng back hundreds of feet. Then, Lu Feng heard Tongtian's hearty laughter and powerful Taoist pronouncements. The way of heaven is above. Today, Tongtian establishes an interception teaching to intercept a glimmer of life for the creatures in the primitive world. Let the way of heaven bear witness. Endless rich purple energy appeared in the sky, lasting all night long. Lotuses of merit bloomed faintly, and golden light shone on the vast land. Everything in the ancient world was recovering, full of vitality. A pillar of light, containing the power of merit from the way of heaven, fell directly on Tongtian. Tongtian's cultivation began to climb, finally breaking through to Hongyun de Luo Jingxian. At that moment, the pressure of Tongtian's sainthood spread throughout the ancient world. Countless creatures were forced to kneel. Even Lu Feng couldn't withstand such pressure with just the 12th grade world-destroying Black Lotus. Fortunately, he had a lot of magic weapons and could resist a little by using the others. When the golden light faded, an image of the saint appeared in the sky. If you looked closely, you'd see that the saint looked exactly like Tongtian. Lu Feng knew that Tongtian had caught a major break. Just one sentence from him caused Tongtian to immediately become a saint. But even if Tongtian became a saint, Lu Feng wasn't scared. After all, his teacher was also a saint. That if Tongtian tried to use the pressure of his sainthood against him, he'd have his teacher to protect him. Seeing the overwhelming pressure forcing the human race to kneel, Lu Feng coughed twice. Uncle Tongtian, could you ease up on the pressure? If you keep this up, the human race is going to be buried face first in the ground. Hearing Lu Feng, Tongtian immediately pulled back his power. He then noticed that the humans were sprawled on the ground, thanks to the suppression of Kong Tong's seal and the high luck of the human race, otherwise they would have been crushed on the spot by his holy power.